Hey everyone, Father Rendell Torres here at the Cathedral and St. Mary's and St. Francis of Assisi Parish. And I just wanted to welcome a friend of mine, Ben Seymour. We were actually in class together back at Siena when I was studying philosophy before I entered theology at the seminary. But in any case, I am the pastor at St. Mary's and offer Mass there on weekdays at 12:05 p.m. for a lot of the people who work for the state and in the area. Ben's one of our regular Mass goers there. And we recently had a Mass for the Feast of St. Joseph the Worker. And Ben shared with me a little bit later how that feast day and the message from the readings and the homily sort of helped him in his everyday work. And I thought that was very touching. And I asked Ben if he might just share a little bit about that so that we could see how God really does want to be with us even in our everyday life. So, Ben, it's nice to have you here. Thank you so much for being willing to share.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I think this is a great opportunity.
Yeah. So you want to tell a little bit about yourself and maybe how that day kind of touched you? Or?
Sure. So I, broadly speaking, I work in human resources and employee relations work. And a lot of that can come down to having some difficult conversations and difficult days with folks. We try to be very thoughtful about the ways that work is really important to folks' lives. It is how they feed their families. It is how they have their health care. It's what they build their role in society on as well. And sometimes those conversations can be tough. And sometimes we deal with employees who are having a hard day or have made some difficult decisions as well. And so, going back to the feast day of St. Joseph, I had a meeting coming up in the afternoon that I knew was going to be tough and was going to involve some difficult subjects for the employee as well. And went to Mass, and in your homily, you spoke about St. Joseph the Worker in a way that I've never really heard of or never really considered as well. And a lot of that resonated with me goes back to the dignity of work and the value in our lives and all of that. And so, after Mass, I was thinking about it. And before I went into the meeting that I had that afternoon that I knew was going to be challenging for everybody, I prayed on the message from the homily and specifically on the dignity of work and just being open in the course of the meeting. And what I found was an openness of mind and an openness of heart and a real opportunity to listen and to create a solution for everybody in there that preserved that dignity for the employee while also meeting, the needs on our side as well. And so I was really, I think, grateful for that moment of grace that kind of came and the ability to resolve the issue in such a way.
That's wonderful. I think what's so great about that is that, so much of the conversation and discourse in our culture today, it really doesn't seem to believe that there can be a win-win. It's usually like one side has to win at the expense of the other. But, with God, it seems like there's always some kind of way where both sides can maintain their dignity and find a way for the truth in a way to benefit everybody. And I think that was really great. You said something about, unity and peace and trying to just be a listener. And I was just thinking about how St. Joseph was probably a really good listener because he didn't speak much. And I was also thinking about how our current new Pope, Leo, is also known to be a really good listener. And you yourself, as a layman working in the world, you're obviously developing this great virtue of being a good listener, and that really helped you to, in a way, kind of be like a St. Joseph, or almost like the Lord, in a way, kind of like a fatherly, kind, compassionate person who just really wanted to respect the dignity of this person and the dignity of this person's work. And I just think it's great that you went to Mass, received Holy Communion, and were touched by the grace of God, and God really brought a beautiful kind of positive result to what could have been, I'm sure, which was pretty challenging and could have gone in many different directions. And so I'm just so grateful that the Lord did this and that you were willing to just share with us so that other people might be able to see how God works in everyday life. And if we just kind of do what you did, just be open and pray and let the Holy Spirit kind of guide us, and so many beautiful things can happen.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's a very wonderful thought. One of the things I take away from this as well is just an opportunity to stop before each one of those moments, right? I hope not to make it just a one-off, right? But can I revisit that moment, and can I create a practice out of that, right? That it tries to observe that whenever we get in one of these situations.
Right, that's wonderful. Well, thanks so much, Ben.
Great,
it's
thanks for
really
having me.
wonderful to have you
Appreciate it.
here, and I hope that you too can benefit from Ben's experience and just the experience of taking a moment to pray before everything that we do, especially at work, especially if there might be something difficult, but whatever it might be, just to take a moment to be linked with the Lord and let His grace touch us and help us to be ready to interact with others, to listen, to be compassionate, and to let the love of God just flow through us. So thanks for listening, and thank you again, Ben, and we'll see you next time. God bless you.